I'm a macroeconomist, which means I'm interested in the kind of questions that the layperson typically reads about in the newspaper. What is the Federal Reserve doing? What are the effects of fiscal stimulus, et cetera, et cetera. We're studying how economies as a whole function and respond to different shocks and respond to different policy regimes. A lot of people would be surprised that macroeconomists don't necessarily have a really firm grasp on why we have business cycles. But we don't. Macro is hard, and that's one of the things that I think makes it very exciting. One of the things that we're working on in this ongoing project is how ought governments to optimally reduce their debt. And sort of loosely speaking, why do governments run debts? They run debt because their expenditure exceeds their revenue, right? So expenditure on government services, government infrastructure investments, et cetera. Revenue comes from taxes, and there's sort of an implicit revenue angle that governments have access to in the form of inflation. And so we look at the question, suppose that a government comes around and decides that it wants to reduce its holdings of debt or its issuance of debt that other people hold. How ought it to optimally do that? There's a lot of evidence that debt's a really bad thing for governments to carry around, and so we want to think about how can you optimally get rid of that. But it's also an important question because it has big human impacts, right? Because getting rid of debt, we like to say in economics, there's no such thing as a free lunch. It involves some short-term pain. To avoid worse, longer-term pain in some sense is the idea. I'm trying to look at the world as I see it, look at interesting policy-relevant questions, and instead of saying I'm going to try to make my framework fit into that question, I'm going to say I'm going to go find the framework that's going to help me address that question. I think a unique aspect of our department is that most of us have chosen to come to Notre Dame because we really wanted to be at Notre Dame and we really bought into the unique product that Notre Dame was trying to sell and the unique culture that is developed here. This has led to an environment that's full of energy, it's full of excitement. You have a bunch of people that are cooperating together to try to, yes, further their own careers and further their own discipline, further their own research output, but they also have this with the goal in mind of making Notre Dame a better place and bringing the unique factors of Notre Dame to bear on the questions that we address.